When did 15 minutes change everything? Mark and I had been trying for 8 years to have a baby, and with that came so much disappointment. So when I finally got pregnant, we were both over the moon. Mark immediately went out and bought a tiny baseball glove. "For my son," he said with this huge smile on his face. I just laughed and told him we didn't even know the gender yet, but Mark was convinced. He converted our spare room into this sports-themed nursery without even asking me. Football wallpaper and baseball crib sheets and a little basketball hoop on the changing table. He'd already picked out a name too, Mark Jr. I kept suggesting we should have a girl name ready just in case, but he'd wave me off and say there was no need. The thing about Mark was that he came from old money, and his father made it very clear that he expected a grandson to carry on the family name. But when we went for the 20-week ultrasound, the tech said clear as day, "Looks like you're having a girl." Mark actually argued with her, told her she was reading it wrong and demanded she check again. She showed us 3 different angles, and Mark still insisted the images were unclear. On the drive home, he kept muttering about getting a second opinion. That's when things started getting weird. Mark refused to let me buy anything pink. When my sister threw us a baby shower and people brought girl clothes, he donated them all without telling me. He'd already enrolled Mark Jr. in this all-boys prep school and put down a non-refundable deposit. I tried showing him the ultrasound pictures, but he said the technology wasn't always accurate. The day Lindsay was born should have been the happiest day of our lives. But when the doctor announced, "She's here," Mark's face just went blank. He wouldn't cut the umbilical cord, wouldn't hold her. While I was hemorrhaging and the nurses were trying to stop the bleeding, Mark was standing in the corner of the delivery room on his phone. After we brought Lindsay home, Mark completely checked out. He wouldn't say her name, called her the baby, or it. He moved into the guest room and said it was because he needed sleep for work, but I knew the truth. He couldn't stand looking at her. His mother came by one day and actually said to me, "Don't worry, dear. The next one will be right." Like my beautiful daughter was some kind of mistake. Then came the day that still makes my hands shake. I asked Mark to watch Lindsay while I took a shower, just 15 minutes. When I came out, the house felt wrong, too quiet. I called out for Mark and got no answer. Lindsay's car seat was gone. His keys were missing from the hook. I called his phone over and over while running back inside to grab my keys because something deep in my gut told me this wasn't right. I used Find My Phone to track him and saw he was at the mall. As I drove around the parking lot, I finally spotted his car and I parked near it. That's when my heart dropped. I saw Lindsay strapped in her car seat, her little face bright red and drenched in sweat because it was 95 degrees outside and all the car windows were up. I ran to open the door, but it was locked. I pounded on the window screaming her name while digging for my phone to call 911. Then I remembered I had Mark's spare key. My hands shook so bad I could barely get the door open. When I did, I immediately felt like I was in an oven. Lindsay was barely conscious. I grabbed her out of that seat and ran for the mall entrance and the air conditioning, screaming for help. A security guard radioed for an ambulance while I poured water from someone's bottle over her little body. That's when Mark strolled out of the furniture store carrying a catalog. He saw the commotion and walked over casual as could be. "Oh, you found her," he said, like she was a lost sock. I'll never forget the way he said it. No panic, no guilt, just mild inconvenience. "You left our baby in a hot car," I screamed at him. "I forgot she was there," he said with this little shrug. "I was picking out furniture for the next baby's room." The security guard pulled me aside later and showed me something. It was mall security footage from 45 minutes earlier. It showed Mark parking, getting out, walking 3 steps toward the mall, then turning back to look directly at his car before continuing inside. He knew. He looked right at her and left her there to die. That night, I packed our bags while Mark was at his parents' house. Lindsay survived, but I knew next time she might not be so lucky. I filed for divorce and got an emergency protective order using the security footage as evidence. Mark's family tried everything to bury it, but the security guard had already given me a copy. Now Lindsay is 3 and happy. Mark remarried last year and his new wife just had twin boys. I pray for them every single night.